Welcome to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. Are you evaluating your career in real estate? Feel like you're ready for a fresh start? Or ready to take your career to the next level? This is your podcast. Welcome back to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. I'm your host, Meredith Fogle, back once again with my co-host, Alicia Soekawa. Hello, Alicia.
Hello.
And Deborah Morton. Hey, Deb.
Hello there.
All right. So we're giggling because we just had a little bit of a technical difficulty coming on, but we're here. We're all ready to rock and roll now. And I mean, this feels like a success. So our topic today is the definition of success. And sometimes it's the little things like just getting your AV equipment to work, right? Is that what we call it these days? AV equipment, technical, I don't know, technology. But sometimes it is linked to something greater, perhaps. And I feel like there's been a lot of talk around this lately. And the reason that I thought this would be interesting to talk about is one, you know how something keeps coming up for you as a topic, and you're like, okay, something wants me to pay attention to this. And also, the three of us have had interesting personal evolutions in terms of our own feeling of success and where our visions are. And I think we've each had this kind of funky thing happen. And I don't know if, as you guys are watching or listening, you've had this experience yourself, but where you get to a point in your lives where you're like, what now? Right? Like, I think we've all had that where we're like, okay, we got to what we thought was our Everest, and we're not, and sometimes we're seeing a bigger mountain, or sometimes there's like just a fog around the whole atmosphere and we can't see what's
Sometimes
on the other side. Sometimes what, Deb?
you just get tired and you
Yeah,
reevaluate. For me,
yeah,
that's what happened. I got tired. I was
yeah.
like, why am I tired? I have everything going for me, but I was very fatigued. And it
Mhm.
started me down this journey of what is success? What's really important?
Oh, so interesting. Okay. Yeah, and I think when we're in like the climb, we're in like the hustle, you don't really have time to think about it, right? Like you're just focused on that summit. And you're not really sure what it's going to feel like. You think it's going to feel really good when you get there, but you're not really sure like how you're defining success. So let's go to like that point. First of all, if you guys will each share a little bit of your personal experience with what you maybe thought success was, and questions that you had, and kind of like where you are now on it, and then we can kind of go from there. Who wants to start? Either one of you guys jump in.
I have a short example. When I started as an agent, I was with KW and I read Gary Keller's book, The MREA. So I thought I get to 40 million in sales, a million in GCI, I am there. And now, I do that in like what used to be my summit is now like, oh yeah, like not like it's crazy how different it seems. But I lost sight. I mean, the first time I hit it, it was a huge celebration. But then being the way I am, I quickly like have to I didn't celebrate it the second or third time, or even when I doubled. Like it's crazy to me that what I once thought of as the esteemed place to be, that would be, it felt so insurmountable, is now like not even a moment, a glimpse of celebration for me. And like, because it doesn't matter as much as it once did.
Well, I want to ask you a couple questions around that. First of all, when you had that feeling of a celebratory moment or a celebratory time, how long did you stay in that feeling of celebration? Do you remember?
Oh, like 5 seconds. No, actually, that's not true. But it was very short for
Yeah,
how big an aspiration that was for me.
yeah.
I did go to like nice dinner, celebrated with my friends one evening, and then I went back to work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that was the pinnacle. Or I guess when I hit it, I was like, okay, I did that. What's next? And my personality to constantly be looking for what's next. Meredith and Alicia, know me well enough. There's always something else. And I find that my family thinks that's exhausting because they're not like that.
Well, okay, and one of the things that I think is interesting is your family feels is exhausting. It is how you are wired and how we are wired. And there is a level of exhaustion, I think, that happens even that when we're wired that way, it happens to us as well, right? So,
Before we came on, I was telling you that I feel physically run down because of that adrenaline that I run on. I am an adrenaline junkie. I would probably, in other circumstances, make a big old addict because I like the adrenaline of the chase and the charge of accomplishing things.
yep.
And that does take a physical toll. So if I were not committed to fitness and good health,
Mhm.
it would probably be more evident, but I can feel it right now because I'm chasing another big goal.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's
Well, not just a physical toll, but there's like a mental and emotional toll there as well, I think. And then I think the flip side of this hard charging driven personality is sometimes the inability to sit in the moment and feel joy for what you've created, right? To be able
yeah, we
to
better move to Alicia for
that
that.
that moment, right? And actually, perfect segue. So Alicia, because you've had such an interesting evolution. I don't know if you want to share with the audience what your most recent accomplishment is, and sort of like transitioning toward this newfound interest. But I feel like you're going to have a broad perspective on this that you can help us with too.
Well, I think it's like, how do you define success? I think when you're younger, it's more material things, I guess. I think it depends on like how you were raised too. So if you were raised without things, I think it's like I was an immigrant child, so I'm first generation. Um, and it was always about getting the approval of my parents, like being the best. Like you have to be number one, you have to have straight A's. And if you got straight A's, why weren't the A pluses? There was always that feeling of it wasn't enough. You had to be a certain way to achieve. I think a lot of
Recognition,
people
right?
can, yeah. So I think we see a lot of that personality type in real estate in general. And I'm sure this lands with people going like, I need to be the best. Like they're very competitive. And so that's what sales ultimately is. You're measured by your last quarter. Because I came from medical sales. So I did really well. I was like, you always look to see where you were ranked in the top 10. Did you go on the big trip? So everything, it was a very much like the Pablo's dog theory, like the ring,
Yeah.
the bell, and then you go because like if you sell this, you get the money. If you sell this, you get the award. If you sell this, you get the plaque with the name on it. So that's what sales really is. Like whether you're in car sales,
Yes.
insurance sales, real estate sales, any type of sales, your measurement is on not just the money you get, but the accolades you get. So
Yeah.
that's what I always see when I see top producers and team leaders. They really struggle when their agents start to outproduce them because they like seeing their name. It
Mm,
really bothers them to not see their name on the list, right?
mm,
And so that's a measurement about how, if I know a leader, a lot of times has to be the one okay with no one even knowing who the hell they are.
yes.
Like, think about some of these big companies that you don't know who the CEOs are. We have no idea who they are. That's not the purpose, but you know who the brand is, the name is, like the salespeople. So that's kind of like where my brain was growing up, that I wanted to always have my name out there because I wanted the approval, the achievement that I did a good job. And in
Yeah.
sales, you can tell you do good. It's different than other jobs like, like engineers and people that do stuff, they just do their thing and they do their projects and they move on to the next. Like in sales, like if you win, your name gets put up somewhere. Like it's exciting. It's very like, oh, I did good. That's so great. Like even like the posts are so telling. Like, right, I'm so awesome. I sold this house. Ooh, I sold all these numbers. Like I had the best. I think someone recently posted. I'm not going to share who it is. I mean, you guys can go look, but she's like had the most highest sale ever in the city or something, and represented both sides. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, and then she wanted to tell a whole story on it. So basically, I'm just like, great, like but it doesn't do anything for me anymore. Like it doesn't make me bet. In the past when I was early on in the business, I was like, how did she do that? I want to do that. Like, does that make sense? That you're always measuring, like you're always looking to see who's winning.
Yeah.
Even like I was thinking about the Kentucky Derby last week, like, right, think about it, like who's winning? The poor guy second. No one knows who second, third, and fourth is anymore. It's always the person that won. So I think that's the mentality we come from in real estate. Like I call it the heroine of sales. Like
Mm,
that first high is never the same. Because
yeah.
once you hit it, you're like, whatever, all right, another it's fine, it's great.
Yeah.
That's where I think it leads people to go deeper. That's where the need to lead comes from. Needing to develop others comes from. I want to get better at this and this, because the capacity of the money closed, the things you get, the cars you get, the houses whatever the things that people have, the jewelry, the clothes, whatever they want. Once you have it, like you're like, it's
Mhm.
great, it's nice, it's fun, but I don't think it really satisfies people for more than a minute. Let's be real.
Well, it doesn't, it's not. The material things of this world aren't the satisfying things. I just was laughing because I forgot. I got my group,
Yeah.
excuse me, was #1 in the county last year.
And you were like, oh, I forgot about it.
I did. It was crazy. But because I'm pressing into more internal awareness, because I'm seeking peace, it matters. It changes things.
Yeah. And what do you, so for people going through the journey and knowing that, like, say that they're new-ish in this career and they're starting to feel like they're successful, meaning they're transacting, they're serving more clients, they're getting people coming to them, they're getting people to recognize who they are and what they do, connecting them with real estate. And getting that plaque does feel really good. Getting put that social media post up that you sold the highest price property in your city and you got to do both ends of it, like it feels really, really good. And then those same people are probably going on and getting a little endorphin or adrenaline hit every time they go and see somebody liked their post or commented on their post, right? I think we've all gone through that. And I almost feel like it's a necessary rite of passage. Maybe there are people who come onto the planet and they're already like way up, elevated above the level of needing that kind of feeling of significance. But I think for most people, they do go through that stage. And then if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, you hit the point where you realize that wasn't enough. And that's when you kind of get to evolve. And I mean, we've all been
You're lucky if that happens before disaster strikes,
mm,
like a divorce or some sort of roller coaster of disaster, that the chasing the endless things will lead to, there are possible consequences. And that's what, when your family is tired of you always being on the go or emotionally unavailable, or your kids reject you because you missed their soccer game again, or whatever the thing is. But I mean, divorce is the most common. With a divorce rate of over 50% in the country, there's a thing, it's this striving, and it's not just in real estate, it's everywhere. But in real estate, it seems to attract people like us who are just driving for more and more and more. And you have to, hopefully won't go through something disastrous before you, or a health issue. A health crisis will make you pause and say, hold up, I need to get my priorities in order. And so for the people listening, evaluate before disaster strikes. Stop and think, is the certainty brings peace. And if you're confident in yourself, but like without the money and the accolades, how do you get to that place where you're satisfied and peaceful? And that really, what does success look like for you? Is it a bank balance? Is it a house? Is it a closet full of clothes or nice cars? I mean, I have a garage full of motorcycles. I don't have time to ride them. How satisfying is that?
wow, that's a great perspective. Great way.
That's a really good perspective too, because I think what happens in our business when you first start, like you're dead because you don't know anybody or anything, and you're just like, I just want someone. So you're working with whoever you can get, all the people that are like, I call them the fake people that are not real, because you have no idea how to discern who's real and who's not. And I think as you grow in the business and you get business over time, it goes from that to being like, oh my God, I can't even get a minute to myself, right? Between your personal life and professional life. And then,
Again, feels good for a minute because
yeah, it feels good because you feel needed. You're like, I'm solving problems. I'm making money. This is the business. I'm a businesswoman.
Or
And then
is the
you're
busyness
like,
covering
oh,
up?
I hate it.
Yeah, the busyness covers up what's lacking inside you.
Yeah.
The three of us, I'll share, we did an exercise where learn to sit in silence for a minute A minute is forever for somebody with a busy brain and a busy life, or someone who, like me, who's addicted to the adrenaline of go, go, go. Learning to sit in silence is impossibly hard. And that was actually a clue to me that, okay, I might need to do some work on my internal side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, Alicia, you were saying that, getting to that point of being like busy and all of that. I was actually listening to a book this morning where the author was saying, I've never been at somebody's deathbed and they've gone, man, I wish I could have spent more time working. You know,
Mhm.
they're like, I wish I could have piled up more money. They're like, I regret not spending more time with my family. I regret not spending more
We're
time
going on the trip,
going on the trip. Right, exactly. Or spending more
Our
time.
friend who loves experiences, like
eating the
big
cupcakes,
dinner. Yes.
Exactly.
eating the
Yeah.
cake.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we balance that, right? How do we balance that? And I think we're all on this journey. I think, Alicia, you're doing such a great job of this because you're finding ways, I think, to create this fulfillment, finding like a purpose that is balanced with real estate. Meanwhile, if you go onto Alicia's Instagram, oh my gosh, you're like listing every single day. There's a new listing popping up. So you're clearly like in there doing the business, very successful. And you're able to also bring in this. Do you want to share what your most recent development
I
experience?
actually,
Did you know that 63% of sellers and buyers choose their agent based on local proximity? That's why farming or geofarming is such a proven method for long-term success in real estate. If you've been considering becoming a farmer or a geo farmer in your market, but not sure how to get started, check out Farming for Real Estate Agents. This blueprint will walk you through exactly how to choose a geofarm area, how to figure out by running some calculations whether the farm area that you're selecting can support your goals, and will help you track your return on investment. You'll also hear from locally famous farmers who have already dominated their market shares, so you can R&D their secrets and dominate the area that you choose to geofarm.
well, technically I'm a chronic healer now because I did the courses and I worked a little bit on Deb. And but I'm actually going through the certification where I can actually be like certified. But technically when you go through the prerequisites and stuff, I did the intensive, you can heal and you can use it. It's not like there's a rule that you can't. But I'm going through the whole certification. That's like a year. You have 2 years to do it, but it's like basically years worth of work and case studies and things. And once you do all these things and you take certain classes, you can continue on to take other classes. Like you can't do those without the others, basically. It's like college, right? And so this Sunday, I'm taking like a 12-hour course on chronic self-defense. So it's about like, when people shoot arrows at you or negative comments or thoughts and, that kind of stuff, this course is specific for psychotherapy and preventing that thing. So I'm really excited about that. And because of what we do all the time, we're around so many people and so many things and situations, like you said, divorce, deaths in the family, circumstances that are not always happy for people to sell. Even people that are happy, but the emotional roller coaster of selling and buying homes, like all that stuff that comes at us and dealing with other agents and other variables. I think that agents probably more than in any other industry could use some energy clearing. And pranic healing, prana stands for life force. So it's like chi, energy, life force. Like we are all made of it, whether you believe it or not. I don't really care if you don't believe it. It is what it is. It's like gravity,
But it's working, and you've
Yeah.
shifted from, you're still a top producing real estate agent,
Yeah.
and you are also a healer. And
I'm a healer. Yes.
you are satisfied with your life, and and your family is happy, and you have money in the bank, and that's success. Like that is the picture of success, because you're doing everything that is satisfying to your soul and is balanced.
I think that's probably what it is. I think there's still a yearning of understanding of where all these pieces are going to fit. I have a lot of pieces of the puzzle now that I know what the puzzle is. For a long time, last year, I went through a very weird transformation of not knowing what it looked. It was very cloudy. I can't explain I was just going through the motions and very frustrated with myself and relationships and situations that I just didn't understand how to figure it out. And it took me a long time to figure it out. And I was really grateful when it kind of pieced together. And now I understand what the pieces are, but they're not fitting yet all the way. And I think we all have been through that. And I think I'm going through this next phase of life. On the socials, there's a lady that's the founder of the I Don't Care Club. We Don't Care Club.
Funny.
I'm in the club. We don't care about certain things anymore that we used to care about, right? I really don't care what someone thinks about me anymore. Like, I really do not care. But there was a time in my life that I cared. So that's, I think, very helpful. So I would tell agents, just don't care about stuff that don't matter. Like, you know what I mean? That will be very helpful for you to move forward.
I'm gonna go one step further than that. I'm gonna say don't care too much about the things that do matter. And I don't mean don't care about your family, but the
Yeah.
things that you think are the
Yeah.
big be all end alls
Yeah.
that you are striving toward, the less you attach yourself spiritually, emotionally, energetically to those things,
Mm-hmm.
the more likely they are to flow to you. What we
Mm-hmm.
don't know is the more we strive, the more we repel, the
Yes.
more we release and surrender, the more we attract. And I mean,
Yes.
we've all
Yes.
been examples.
So being attached to the outcome is the opposite of what creates peace in your life. So by releasing my attachment to the outcome, whether they accept the contract, whether they accept the offer, whether you get the listing, whether you make the closing date, the outcomes that we become so emotionally attached to is what creates the stress and anxiety in our life. And if we can break the attachment to the outcome and just go about and do life every day and work all the details with full faith that it's going to come to fruition as it's supposed to.
Exactly
Perfectly
right.
said.
Yes.
Perfectly said. And also remember 5 years ago, what was your life like? And probably a lot of things in your life are the things you prayed for.
Mm.
It's really hard. Like, if you think back to when you were in a different position, just like when we have children, people that want children so desperately,
Mm.
we have, like, before you had your kids, you probably wanted a kid, and there's a kid. And I think we forget, even though you want to punch them in the face sometimes, but because there's just part of parenting. There's things like, spouses, like, when you're younger, I was like, I wonder if I'll be married one day. Like, those are the kind of the things that I think we don't know what we don't know. Like, just like, I kind of like am excited, like, because like, I know in 10 years from now, I'm going to look back and be like, oh my gosh, like, how cool did all this unfold in 10 years? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so cool to see, allow things kind of unfold and you look back.
But the only way you can see those things unfolding is if you pause and take a
Yes.
minute and reflect on them. And in real estate, that is the hardest thing to do because we don't have time to stop and pause and reflect. And I think that's the difference. The beautiful thing that's come out of us working together, the three of us, is that I have learned to pause and reflect and think deeply about things. And it has given me the opportunity to press into my faith, which I've always, I love Jesus and he's awesome. But if you don't take the time to read, for me, it's read the Bible and pray and meditate on the word of God, nothing can happen in my life because I'm just busy, 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 busy. And then, oh, shoot, run the church. That doesn't, I got to the point where that was not satisfying to me. And success looks like when you are really satisfied with every facet of your life.
Yeah, yeah. So for people who are on this journey right now, and maybe they're in that place, Deb, that you just described, where like they're hustling, they're reaching, they don't feel like they have time to do any of that. And they might not even like see it, or maybe they haven't even thought about it until they've been, on this listening to our podcast or watching today, and you can see it. And when I have to tell you, like as a coach, when I see agents who are in this place, I'm like, I can see the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
See it? Can you see it? What do we need to do? What's the only way not to go over the cliff? You have to stop. Like that's the
Yeah.
only way. So how do they, if they're in that moment in their lives, and right now, for some people, it's a very busy spring market and they're in this real building phase. How do
And
we,
some people are stuck in the, it's not busy and they're grasping and
That too.
striving and
Yep.
grinding and not getting results. And that's causing anxiety as well.
True.
So it doesn't matter if you're actually producing and busy right now, or you're not busy and you're feeling the anxiety of that. Everybody goes through it.
Yes. So how do you two recommend to someone in that phase in their lives and career to begin to carve that space in that's necessary that we know in hindsight is, I mean, and if I had known, and this is why I hope we're kind of giving a gift to the audience here, because if I had heard this and if I had known, I think I would have, hopefully my trajectory would have been a lot more direct to where we are now. But I didn't know. You don't know what you don't. Nobody tells
Well,
you.
that's what I'm afraid that no matter what, I would have heard it and not listened or not found it applicable at that time. So you said the cliff. For me, I had to go actually over the cliff before I realized. And fortunately, there was no life-altering consequences for me, but unfortunately, there are going to be people listening that might not see it in themselves, and they have to go when nobody can stop it. You have to go through because you don't know what you don't know. But my recommendation is to get thoughtful. And I'm like journaling, and I like a good morning routine. When you're journaling what's on your mind, it will help you, even if it's scribbled and nobody can understand, it's not complete sentences, getting it out of your brain, where you are and what you want out of your life and what does success look like to you. The act of journaling is just productive in that it gives you clarity in your brain. And then you have to have a good morning routine, which includes exercise, prayer, and meditation. Like that's it. And reading good things. You have to put good things in to get good things out. And then you have to decide if what you hear in that journaling and quiet time, if you have the discipline to put it into practice. That's the extra piece.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. Alicia, what are your thoughts around that?
I think I'm definitely doing more journaling myself, but I find this will make you laugh. So I used to do a gratitude journal. Like I would just write out my things, like write like a list and be done. But then I started doing a free flowing one because they were like, just do a free flowing one, like whatever you're feeling, this will make you laugh. While I'm journaling, I'm like, I stop and I'll go do something. I'll come back and I'll journal. Because I didn't realize how much the ADD flares when you're trying. I'm like, I can't, because while I'm journaling, I'm like, oh, I need to go do this. And I literally will get up, go do something, come back and be like, oh crap, I got to do. So I find that it's actually maybe not the best way for me to journal is what I'm thinking. I don't know, maybe, maybe not.
Or maybe that's just the way your process works. That's the way
I don't know.
yours.
It's really weird. I never was like that before. I was able to get through the 10 gratitudes without getting up. But something about free flowing journaling, just letting it journal for like 2 pages worth.
I know why, because you're verbal. Like your processing style is verbal, it's not written. Everybody has their own style.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So like that's kind of like where I've noticed kind of funny things, but I've kind of been releasing a lot of things. I asked Michael last night too. We went to dinner and I was like, I don't know how this healing stuff's gonna fit into like what I'm doing, and I'm feeling like this push pull of everything and timelines, and because I want to take that AI course. Like there's agents that are out there. There's always going to be something you have to do in addition to all the things that you're doing. So just get used to it. Like that's just our life, right? There's new regulations here with septic tanks. There's always something. I feel like you're like, ugh. And I feel like sometimes you just want to lay down and not do anything. And you can't do that. That's just our life. And I asked him that, and he's like, I really see this vision for you that it's just going to unfold. You're not going to have to do anything. You're just going to heal people. And those people, you're going to sell them their houses. It's all just going to work together. And I thought that was like really insightful for him to say that. Like, you're not going to have to do the mailings and do all these things that you do.
Well,
it's just going to happen. And I was like, okay, I'm going to let that sit.
I have one other tidbit that has been very effective for me recently is because, whether it's a single transaction or the growth of a brokerage or a family situation, if it feels stressful, if you remember that this situation might just be the learning that you need for the next big thing that's coming in your life, it can make you cope in the moment a lot better with it. Like, oh, this is really hard. Oh, it's killing me.
Good.
I can't
You
believe
say
they
good.
couldn't. And then I step back and say, wow, how am I going to use this in the future? This is a practice run for the next awesome thing that's coming my way. And it changes my frame of reference so that I can embrace the hard, embrace the suck of a hard situation better. And I think that skill makes me more successful than a bank balance or other things, because I now roll with it. It's not that I don't feel stress, but I am going through life with a sense of wonderment and curiosity, like, what else does the universe have in store for me? And how cool is it that I get to learn this lesson instead of taking the opposite approach of this sucks, this is hard, I can't believe those people did whatever.
Yeah, which means that there's never really a true failure because you're always growing and learning.
Exactly right. Yes, a deal blows up, and if you have that approach of, that's interesting, I wonder what's coming next. It makes it a lot easier to cope with it. And because our business is so stressful, it's never going to stop being stressful. And we as agents are supposed to help other people deal with their stress. So if we don't master this, or at least get some level of coping mechanism that is peaceful, to me, that's success, because it's about contribution. Our careers give us the opportunity to contribute to others' lives in a huge way. So when we master the ability to contribute in this way, like, good golly, that's success for me.
Yeah. And I think that's something that I wanted to point out that both of you have, I think, from my perspective, mastered so beautifully. Deborah, you're really involved in philanthropic organizations, the Rotary Club, your religious faith, all of that, even the radio show that you do that gives, information to people who have questions and need support. All of those things are this kind of natural outgrowth of the expertise that you've developed through what you've done in your career and also your natural servant spirit. So balancing those two things, and I think I'm hearing like this is success, is being able to have both dreams, right? Like you've got this real estate dream and you've got this other piece of you that has a whole other purpose and that they can come together. And Alicia, it's like what you just said, right? You have this dream as well, and you're living it and you're doing it. And getting clarity too, I think sometimes on what stays with you, because we've all had the experience of having to shed some things to allow for like the blossoming of new things that actually are going to lead to what feels like real success in our life. So with you, Alicia, the combination that Michael talks about of your healer's journey and in collaboration with being a successful real estate agent, it all plays together so beautifully. I mean, it is really like
Funny.
It does.
We have 3 different personalities here, and Alicia is, for relating to the disc profile, Alicia's high I. She goes through the feeling journey. Because I'm a driver of just D all the way through, I literally sat down and said, like, what is the fastest way I can find peace and success in my life? Give me the bullet point.
Give me there fast. I only got 10 minutes. Give me there. That's funny. Yes.
I'm going to figure it out. Give me the
Yeah.
bullet points, Cliff Notes version.
But I want to also point out that I heard both of you say, because, and part of this is we're naturally great problem solvers. That's why another reason we do what we do and why we're successful at what we do. And we enjoy solving problems. And then when the problem feels like, to use your analogy, Alicia, like there's all these pieces of the puzzle, we naturally are like, we got to solve that Rubik's Cube. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're wired to do. But
That's
when we
business.
know, right, but that's business, but it's not life, right? So
No.
when we let the pieces coalesce on their own, let that fog clear on its own, and we begin to lean into a certain effortlessness, that's when real success starts to drop in. And I think that's where you guys are
Well,
feeling.
I was going to say, it looks beautiful on you, Meredith.
Oh, well, thanks.
And congratulations on your new company.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. That's been really fun. And that's the thing too, like fun, that word fun.
Yes.
Think that more, like that's
Yeah.
being able to be like, this is fun again, because I think that's another piece of the journey. We
Yeah.
go through at the beginning, it feels fun, and then it doesn't feel so fun. And
Yeah.
then you get to this place where again, okay, it feels fun.
It feels fun. Yeah. I think that's a very important thing to remember, that we get to do the things we do, even though there are days that you're like, this isn't what I imagined it to be. But I think those are good things to experience, like you said, like the bumps that come along the way help you,
Yes,
see the good stuff that comes too. It's part of it all. It's just
yes,
part of it. I even said to someone, if you haven't lost money in the business yet, or someone hasn't screwed you over, it's not to expect it or to feel like scared for it, but just to know when it does happen, you have what it takes to figure it out and move forward. That's
so
what
good.
business is,
Yeah,
because it's
so
life, you know? When
very
it
true.
happens, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah,
But you figure it out. Everything is a figure it out situation, I think.
yeah, yeah.
So
Sometimes it's just an accept and release. All right. Anything else you guys want to share about your journeys to success? I know we're probably past time, but
I just want to wish everybody well in their journey, because it
yeah,
is a journey, and it's
it's personal.
the only way
It's
you're going to
personal.
avoid the journey is to be dead. So I wish
Yes.
you well.
But I think too, it's personal. It's different for each person. Anybody watching, a lot of people watching are newer agents potentially, or agents that have been around and trying to make pivots for themselves, but no one can judge your journey. Like, it's your journey to have. That's it.
absolutely. Beautiful. Well, thank you both. I hope this has been helpful for everybody watching and listening. If you are interested in reaching out to us, you know how to reach us. Feel free to leave us a comment. And if you would be so kind as to, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, or to leave us a comment or review on the platform that you're watching or listening, we would be so very appreciative. And we are wishing you every success. This has been So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. We'll see you next time.